Hello and welcome. Welcome to Manifestation Monday. So let us begin by just taking a breath in, coming into the body, coming into the present moment, remembering that your point of power is only right now. Not even because, you can only change things right now, but just because everything outside of it is an illusion, that it's not real. Your past doesn't exist. Think of something that happened, and you and your friend have both experienced it, and you will have completely different experiences of that one event. You will add completely different meanings to that one thing that happened. Who's to say what's the truth? There isn't, right? You create your own truth. Same with the future. There's these projections, hopes of what you would want it to be like, or fears of what you definitely don't want it to be like. Understanding that that doesn't exist either. The only real thing is now. So focusing on the now, coming into the breath, coming into the body as you're inhaling in, into the belly, into the chest, into the nose. Exhaling out, letting it go. And again, in, breathing properly, breathing deeply, shoulders back, spine straight, inhaling in, exhaling out, letting it go. So I want to dive into a deep question that came today. That was actually from a few days ago. Today's a good day, very connected, very intuitive. So let me read the question first. I have a fear of giving up on ego-based concepts. There's a fear of falling flat on my face. This was a comment in regards to how the mind keeps us stuck. So that was the previous slide, actually. So here's a thing with that. I can't exactly tune into the energy of the person who asked this at this moment, but whenever we have these limitations, I want to address first the fear of falling flat on your face. What does that mean? And gosh, I can think of like 3 different videos that I can create out of this to address this, to really explain this in fullness. Let's address the first concept and then see how it goes from there. Whenever we feel the fear of judgment, we're afraid to be misunderstood, we're afraid to be judged, we're afraid to be the victim, we're afraid to lose control, really what this is about. We're not actually afraid of other people judging us. And then some of you may go, well, of course I am. Like, I know this is what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of other people. I'm afraid of being seen. I'm afraid of being vulnerable. I'm afraid of speaking my truth because that may make me a victim. Or one follower on my Instagram said it so fantastically, I might be manipulated when I speak my truth, when I open fully, when I'm genuine, when I'm authentic, when I'm loving, when I'm committed to showing up as the best version of myself. It somehow can put me at a disadvantage. And that isn't so. Because we're not afraid of other people judging us. We're afraid of buying into their stories. We're afraid of our own judgment, not anyone else's. Other people can't hurt you. Now, some of you may go, yes, they can. You are the creator of your reality. You are the focus point, right? Whether you want to look at it from law of attraction, manifestation, or you just want to look at it through psychology, that everything that comes into your reality, you add meaning to it because of recycled experiences. That nothing is good or bad, your mind makes it so. So you are the creator of your reality from whichever point you want to look at this, right? If you're committed to having a bad day, you got it. It happens exactly as you want it to be. If you're committed to having a good day, you got that too, right? So we're not afraid of other people because they can't do much. They can't make us think a particular way. They can't make us reject ourselves. They can't make us doubt ourselves. We're afraid that we will buy into someone else's story that, in most cases, by the way, we create. It's somebody else's story that we create for them and then we buy into it, right? Think of you're in a group of people and you said something and they kind of went quiet, or maybe they just didn't kind of you know reply to something that you said, or they didn't really validate it, and that's what you were looking for, and you had this doubt of, oh, that was such a stupid thing that I said, right? And you go into this mind reading, which is, by the way, a cognitive distortion of, they must think I'm stupid, or they must think that that was a stupid thing to say, or they must think that I don't belong here, right? None of them may be thinking that. And the odds are they're not, because people are too caught up in their own lives to think about how did you show up and what is that embarrassing thing that you did. So in that moment, you may create this whole story of what they are thinking without even them thinking, and saying, oh, they must think I'm stupid. Oh, it must be true because I did say that really stupid thing, or embarrassing thing, or whatever. So we create stories that other people may or may not be thinking, and we buy into those stories, and then we judge ourselves, and then we put ourselves down. Again, like in this case, it was something that was just, that whole loop was created in one mind. Sometimes it is true what people that people do think that, and they may say it to you, and then you say, "Well, see, I have validation that that is true," and so your ego gets validation. I do have the right to beat you up for this because other people say it so, and you're buying into it. Because really, if you zoom out of it, anything is just an opinion. Well, that was a stupid thing to say. That is your opinion, right? So many of you may be watching, judging me right now, whether about something that I'm saying, or how do I look, or how do I speak, or whatever that may be. That is just your opinion. It doesn't affect me in any way unless I allow it to affect me. There's a beautiful story of Buddha, who was one time sitting in the hall and preaching, and there comes a man who just starts saying how horrible his teachings are and how they're wrong and that he shouldn't be teaching and so on. And Buddha continued his lesson, his lecture, whatever he was speaking about, until he stopped and he welcomed in that man and said, when someone gives you a gift, right? If you buy a gift for someone and you give it to the other, and the person says, no, I do not accept it, who stays with the gift? Who does the gift belong to? It's like, well, the man says, well, me, if the person who I give it to doesn't accept it. Yes, says Buddha, and I do the same with your anger. I do not accept it, so you can keep it. And this is really true about any thoughts, that the opinions of others, they can only affect us if we allow it to. The situations, the circumstances that you're experiencing in your life, they can only impact you if you add a negative meaning to it and buy into it. Otherwise, they can't hurt you. Nothing can hurt you because it is only you hurting yourself. So, with that comment, I would really ask, what does it look like for you, the person who asked this, fall flat on my face? What does that mean? What story are you believing in that moment? What does that mean for you? Does that mean other people judging me? Does that mean me judging me? Does that mean, okay, a lot of people go into this, I'm afraid to do this thing that I cannot undo. I'm afraid to make the wrong choice. Wrong for whom? It's like, well, for everybody. I'm afraid to do this thing that is wrong. Who's everybody? Because there is no right or wrong, just like there is no ultimate truth. You create your own truth. What is true for you in this moment? What is right and wrong for you in this moment? So, again, I would really, I mean, anyone watching, but specifically the person who asked this, because I'm kind of tuning in more and more into that energy. w- What does it mean to you? Like, what does failure mean to you? And this is a really great one to define for anyone, success and failure, because a lot of people go into, I'm afraid to try this thing that I really want, right? Whether it's going for that relationship that I want, or that job that I want, or, going into this hobby and succeeding at it. And it's like, I'm afraid of success. Or rather, people say, I'm afraid of failure. Let's actually address both. Let's go with failure first. I'm afraid of failure. And I go, no, you're not. You're failing every single day that you're not going towards that thing. How can you possibly be afraid of that which you're so good at? Because you're doing it every day. That makes no sense. And really catching your mind. Your mind does not make sense. This is why I so encourage you to write things down. Because when you have it written out on paper, your mind can't go into, well, that's not what I meant. It's like it's right there on paper. That's exactly what you meant, and you make no sense. So, this is where we get to really just take control of our thoughts and then choose them deliberately, and understanding that we are in control, that it's not the ego, that it's not the servant running the house, but that we are the masters and we get to take that power back. Okay. This is not to disrespect the ego, that it's an absolute asset, so important, because that's what allows us to experience, because, life is all just God re experiencing itself. So, having an ego allows us to have an individual experience of life. So often, I'm going to get to the success part in a minute, but so often, we want to go into this meditative state and feel this bliss. And the shamanic, um in Peruvian shamanism, there's the concept of the four perspective. It's like, yes, I want to experience the condor, that is like that oneness, and everything is one and everything is energy, and I'm not separate from the table, the microphone, or the camera. I am it, and it's all energy flowing. That's not what you want to experience all the time. That's what you experience in the non-physical. But here, you get to have an ego. You get to be the you that you are. You get to like and dislike some things. You get to transmute that duality, and you get to the kind of, go on that thin blade that is that enlightened state. And then you get to fall off of it again in the positive. And then you get to go in again on the blade, and then you get to fall off in the negative, and you get to come back home. That is the fun. That is the game. That is what you came here to experience. So when we go into, well, I just want to transcend the ego. I want to have no ego and not be me. It's like just be all oneness. But you're losing the fun of it, right? It's like if you're playing a video game, isn't it fun to be that character and not just say, oh, well, I am the game itself. I'm the creator of the game itself. It's like, it's fun to be in the game and to go through these challenges and see if you can, level up and go on the next level and just experience the fun process of it. So, opening up to that. Now, going into the fear of success, that when we go into, well, I'm afraid of succeeding because that means the next level of me. That is something that I have not yet experienced, and that is coming out of my comfort zone. That is actually what most people are scared of. I'm afraid of success because I've never been there before. I've had a lot of past failed relationships, but I don't know what it's like to experience that real relationship that I imagine, that I haven't even seen, but I imagine is possible. And this is actually the Hendrix couple. That's literally how they created their marriage, of, I think, 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. Of just, okay, we both came from these families that are completely chaotic. We do not know how to make it work, but we believe that we can. And they went on to teaching this and wrote so many books about this. Or I have been failing financially for years, and I know what that looks like, but I don't actually know what it's like to hold money and to be okay with money and to be comfortable with money and like embrace that abundance, allow that receptivity. So therefore that is scary. Success is scary because I've never experienced it. So that requires succeeding is actually the difficult part, not the failing. You're failing every single day that you're not moving towards that which you want. You're failing every single day that you're staying stagnant, comfortable. And Noticing where your mind is going into this, well, I don't want anymore. And that's a wonderful place to be. And that's also that's the paradox of life. It's like there's light in the darkness and there's darkness in the light. Because when we go into, well, I have everything I want, I'm really fulfilled. What is going on with that part within you that's wired for evolution, that's wired for getting out of the comfort zone? Okay. And the opposite, when we go into, well, I want all these things. What's happening to that part of you that can just be here and now and say, this is perfect. This is bliss. That this moment right here is where all the power is. And I wouldn't want anything to change in the world. And always checking in with the both. So I do want to address going deeper into that question. Fear of giving up ego-based concepts. So I would ask, what are those ego-based concepts specifically that you're referring to? But generally just getting really comfortable with the fact that there is no right and wrong, that you can't fail and yet you're doing it at the same time, all the time, and that you are also that energy of success, that success in its own is just moving forward, right? That when we go into, well, I don't want to try because I'm afraid of failure, I'm afraid to fall flat on my face, I'm afraid of the loss. What do you define as loss? And understand that moving forward on its own is success. That is achievement, that is accomplishment, because that is staying true to your essence. That is staying true to that part of you that is ever expanding, because that is what you came here to experience. So I thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any further questions, especially the person who asked. And taking a deep breath in, rooting into the body, coming into the present moment. Can you just drop everything you think is important in your life just for a few breaths? Understanding that if all of this falls away, you still exist, that there is a part of you that still exists, even if all those things that you think make up who you are aren't there anymore. If all those roles were to just be dropped and they wouldn't exist anymore, if you were to lose your job and you don't have your occupation, if your whole family isn't there anymore and you're not, father, mother, or child, sister, brother, whatever, a partner, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, if you weren't any of those things, that you still exist, and just tuning into that as you're inhaling in very deeply, receiving the breath fully, exhaling out, allowing the perfection of this moment, allowing the perfection of you, allowing the perfection of your fears as you're watching this, of your mind, the thoughts, the judgments, the rejecting, the clinging. Can all of this be okay right now? And seeing it for what it is, that is just clouds, that you are the sky and it's just clouds passing through, and it's not something to get lost in. So on this note, I thank you for watching, and the next, we're going to be taking a break for 1 week, although there might be a video, and the next Manifestation Monday will be in 2 weeks. So I look forward to connecting with you then. Much love.